was fed up with my uncle and aunt on a certain day last year. All I wanted was to give them a taste of my pent-up frustration and anger. It was the only objective in my mind. But then, after a few minutes, everything changed. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and my evaluator. It all began exactly 1 year ago from that day when I first started giving tuitions for all subjects except science to a cousin of mine. I was meeting them after a very long time. As a result, I imagined maybe my student would be all calm and collected. However, I didn't know how wrong I was. My uncle had not one, not two, but three equally notorious children. Whenever I went to their house, I would definitely find at least one of them either shouting or screaming or running all over the house. Sometimes they would all shout in unison. Sometimes it would be their parents who shouted, and they for once would be silent listeners. With time, I got used to all the tantrums and after much effort, settled down to teaching. After that, my first tuition was shaping up to be a wonderful experience. Until one day, certain unexpected events started to occur. My uncle had a dream that one day all his children will be world famous chess players. He admitted them to a very famous chess academy from a very young age. They also had multiple private chess tutors. One day I went there at my usual time. I found out that my cousin was not there. Apparently, the next big chess tournament was coming up and he was devoting extra hours for chess practice. That day, I went there after attending 2 long, boring Bikon tuitions of my own. I wasted my time and energy in going there. But then I thought that mistakes happen and I politely requested them to inform me about such extra tuitions beforehand. The next day, there was heavy rainfall. I was stuck midway. When I finally got there, I found out that my uncle was about to accompany my student to another chess class. Apparently, they also came to know about it just 10 minutes ago. I thought, okay, maybe it won't happen ever again. But then, it continued to happen at least once in every 2 weeks or so. Once started, these miscommunications never seemed to stop. Every once in a while, a big chess tournament would materialize out of nowhere and I would suffer. I would go there only to find that my cousin is busy someplace else. I tried everything to make sure that he informed me beforehand. I became more and more impolite as time went on. Dealing with those miscommunications unleashed a nasty, violent side of my character I never thought existed. But all my efforts led nowhere. Different installments of the miscommunication series continued to take place at regular intervals. One day, I just had enough. That day, I went there at my usual time and had just started to teach when the doorbell rang. Another person walked into the room. I realized that he was the private chess tutor of my cousin. My eyes became wider and wider as all the books on the table were just casually thrown to a bed nearby, only to be replaced by a chessboard. That's when I decided to yell at them, like I have never yelled before. But just as I was about to start, the doorbell rang again. Yet another person came into the room and moments later started to say the same words which I wanted to say in a much more rude manner which I could never manage. Apparently, that person was the newly appointed tutor of another cousin of mine. He just could not accept the repeated miscommunications from my uncle and aunt. I just stood there in that room and watched him blow off steam for 20 long minutes. As I watched him, I was forced to rethink. That day, I learned an important lesson. the importance of considering the perspectives of other people suddenly became crystal clear to me. Each one of my 3 cousins was equally notorious. My uncle and aunt had to control them, comprehend them, and take care of them every single day. They had different school and tuition timings. Again, each one of them used to go to chess tuitions on different times of the day. I realized that after managing all of that, if they ever forgot to remind me about extra chess tuitions, it certainly was not intentional. It was because they were under overwhelming pressure. I realized that even if I release my anger, I would just be adding on to the pressure. Things would certainly change, only to revert back to its original state in the next few weeks. Nowadays, whenever the miscommunications occur, I just go there, sit for an hour, catch up with the other members of the household, and come back to my residence. In the process, I discovered a few days ago that all those miscommunications have been slowly decreasing. I never thought that it was possible. Whenever we are agitated with someone and are about to do something drastic, we should first pause to consider the viewpoint of that person. When no one is impervious to anger, but we can always choose the way with which we deal with our anger. Anger is just like steam. When nurtured in the right way, it can be a fuel for locomotives. But when handled poorly, it explodes. Is it really desirable for us to explode every single time we feel anger? Or is it ideal to deal with it in a constructive manner? The decision is up to us. Thank you.